Hi, my name is KJ. I'm also Kellye Jones, and I wanted to talk to you today about my aneurysm survival. I was asked by the Brain Aneurysm Foundation to share my story, um, and I'm very humble and grateful that they would consider me. So basically, this is my story. I used to teach Sunday school Bible study, to kids. And I was very adamant about making sure that I got the right answers because I believe if you teach someone the wrong way, it takes a lot more time to reteach what was taught incorrectly. So I used to spend a lot of time just using the concordance, the parallel Bible, reference Bible, etc., back and forth with scriptures. And one night I was working on the Bible story and the words started to get blurred and I couldn't see. And I just figured it was because I was looking at different books and different size text and everything that it was starting to get blurry and that I was tired. So I put the book down, but I was disappointed because I really wanted to make sure I got the lesson done for my kids. So I put the book down and tried to wake up an hour later and start again, but no success. And this happened repeatedly, 3, 4 days, something like that, that it was just getting progressively worse, that I was able to spend less time working on the lesson. So what I did was I scheduled an appointment with my general practitioner, went and met with her, and she was like, you know what, I think you just need glasses. I think that, we'll do some allergy medicine because it's allergy season. It was April, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And so I said, but I'm concerned because, I've taken allergy medicine before and I've never had headaches like this. I've got headaches and my vision's blurred. But what I did was I followed up. I went to the optometrist, got my eyes checked, everything. Even after I got my glasses, I was still not doing great. So I asked if I could possibly have a CAT scan or MRI because my maternal aunt, maternal uncle, and maternal grandfather died of a cerebral aneurysm. My paternal uncle died of an aortic aneurysm. And so when I mentioned that to her, her response was, well, I think you're just jumping the gun. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But because I was persistent, I put that on that New Jersey girl persistence, and she finally allowed me to get a CAT scan. So I got the CAT scan. The CAT scan came back and she said, well, yeah, you do have an aneurysm, but it's nothing really to worry about. It's a 4. Usually we don't worry about it until it's about the size of a 10. I said, but can I get more tests just to make sure that it's really and truly a 4 and not something more than a 4? So I wound up getting an MRI, and when I got the MRI, it just once again confirmed that I had an aneurysm, and I had to ask if I could see a neurologist, someone who works with aneurysm. So finally, she set up an appointment for me to meet with a neurologist, and I met with a neurologist, and he explained to me that there are 3 shapes or forms of the aneurysm. The first one looks like a balloon, the second one looks like an omega, and the third one looks like a heart shape, like the top of a heart, and it's open on the bottom. And what he explained to me was with a balloon, you could do a coil surgery where you put something, you put a coil in the center of it. With an omega, you could stent it and put a coil in it. And the third one with the heart, it's an emergency surgery. And he was talking about it rupturing and everything. And so, uh, I wound up going back to the hospital 6 Fridays in a row, whether it was getting an MRI with contrast. I was in the ER. One day they had me like tied up in all these, wires, and I was on a bedpan, and, my mom came to see me. And when my mom came to see me during that visit, she couldn't look at me. She was there for like maybe 5 minutes and she couldn't take it. And I saw the pain in her face. And so when I saw the pain in her face, I went to the doctor and I said, I need something now. I said, because this is not working. It's 6 weeks and it's not getting better. And, I love my mom. I didn't want to see her in pain. So the doctor said to me, he said, well, look, there's nothing that we can do until it ruptures. So I looked up aneurysms that rupture, and 50% of them are fatal. So I asked him if he couldn't do it, who could do it. So he gave me a doctor in Arizona, and I think the second one was in California. It was either Vegas or California, I can't remember, but they were like the top two experts in the field. And so I talked to my mom, and she was prepared to do the flight. You know, she wanted me to get to the doctors as soon as possible. And my ex-husband actually found the doctor in Philadelphia. So we wound up contacting the doctor in Philadelphia and sent him my MRI and CAT scan information on a Tuesday at noon. Less than 4 hours later, um, around 4 o'clock, they called and they said, "We need to see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m." So I went home. I was in North Carolina, and that was, hours away, 7, 9 hours, I don't know. And I started to wash clothes and cook and do all the things for my kids. I have 3 kids. I don't know, kind of scared as to what may happen. So I procrastinated, and we wound up leaving at midnight and getting there just before my doctor's appointment, but I couldn't go in. I needed to run to the Marriott, just kind of wash my water washcloth, wash my face, brush my teeth. I didn't want to have bad breath meeting the doctor. And so I freshened up and went to the doctor's. And so he looked at my paperwork. He asked me a few questions, and he said, I need to admit you. So he admitted me to the hospital, and he walked out. And as he was walking out, I said, "Well, wait a minute." I said, "Remember, I've got that New Jersey, the New Jersey pushiness." I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Well, I just drove up with my kids and everything." And I said, "Is there any way that we can go get some breakfast?" I said, "Because I haven't eaten yet, and my kids haven't eaten yet, and all that kind of stuff." He said, "You might be able to eat after we check you into the hospital, but no, you cannot go with your family." So I check in, and before I check in, he walks out the door and he says to the nurse, "Her aneurysm could rupture at any moment." So I was admitted. I went in. And remember when we started 6 weeks ago, I was a balloon. I was that balloon shape where you would just coil it. But my doctor did not want to coil it at that time. The surgery that I had was a coil and a stent, the omega. So in 6 weeks, my aneurysm grew from a balloon to an omega. I don't know how close I was to the heart shape. But the bottom line is, what I want to say is, it was 6 weeks. So I'm here today saying that if you're having headaches, if you're having blurredness, if you have questions, if you have concerns, talk to your doctor. If your doctor is not stating what you need to hear, find an expert. Google the top 10, top 3 persons who work with aneurysms and get yourself checked. It can progress rapidly. Unfortunately, I was in a very stressful situation. So after those 2 years, after the 2 years of monitoring my aneurysm, I had to go every 6 months for a checkup. If there was a slight headache, I was going to the doctors for a checkup. And I was cleared after 2 years. So then for the next 3 years, I had to go every year for an exam. And I was cleared after 5 years. And I went back to Philadelphia for all these exams. And now I can ride roller coasters. I can do anything that everybody else does. But once again, I monitor it. I monitor it very, very closely. I was in a car accident. The first thing I did was I said I needed an MRI. The doctors looked at my records as far as my aneurysm, and they told me I needed a CAT scan, maybe even an MRI immediately. So once again, once you have an aneurysm, you are susceptible to having another one. So just keep yourself, monitor headaches, any type of stress, any type of situation that can further impact your health. So, but once again, I'm here. I'm feeling great, loving life. And I want to make sure that if you, once again, have any questions, any inquiries, that you follow up on it, because it can progress rapidly. Thank you so much for your time. Take care and good health.